Now here's the man that needs no introduction.
Hey everybody, it's Jim here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey everybody, it's Jim here.
I've always wanted to do this.
Hey everybody, it's Jim here.
What's your connection to Parkinson's disease?
Hey everybody, it's Jim here.
Sorry, that's my foot.
I'll do better next time. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spinning Wheels Parkinson's Conversation with Jim here podcast. I'm Jim here. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everybody what brought you in part by Parkinson's Awareness and Action. They're a group out of Cornwall, Ontario, and can be found on Facebook. As well, we're partially brought to you by PDT, the healing power of tea applied to Parkinson's. For more information, please go to www.pdt.com. And we're also excited to announce that the Spinning Wheels Relay to End Parkinson's Disease, powered by U-Turn Parkinson's, is coming this July 27th. And we'll be coming across the country. And looking forward to seeing you out there with us. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Spinning Wheels Parkinson's Conversations with Jim here podcast. I'm Jim here on location from my childhood home. I'm very pleased and excited to welcome to this episode Bailey Martin, who is from Victoria, British Columbia, and is the executive director of the Parkinson's Wellness Projects in Victoria. Bailey, welcome, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, first of all, tell us about Parkinson's Wellness Projects. What is that?
Sure. So Parkinson Wellness Projects is a nonprofit organization here in Victoria, BC. Our goal is to really help improve the lives of people living with Parkinson's disease, along with their care partners and families. We do this a few different ways. We have exercise classes, support groups, counseling, education, and a real sense of community at the main center that we have in downtown Victoria.
Okay, and that's great. And so, I mean, how long have you been the executive director?
I joined PWP in the fall of 2020, so right in the middle of COVID. So it was quite the quite the introduction for me. I worked in private neuro for about 5 years before that, so I've had experience working one-on-one with people with Parkinson's disease. My background is in athletic and exercise therapy, and I'm also a Parkinson's wellness recovery therapist. So I've done lots of one-on-one treatment with Parkinson's disease through exercise, primarily. Taught exercise classes and joined PWP as the program and education manager, and then moved into the position of executive director in 2021.
Are you growing? Or like, how many people are coming in?
Are we growing? Yeah, we are growing. So obviously COVID, we couldn't have any in-person classes. We did start classes on Zoom platform, and everybody I think used Zoom or has been using Zoom, and as we can see, it's not going away anytime soon. So we still offer virtual classes. Right now we have 23 classes a week, both in person and online. When I started, I think we had about 200 participants, and now we have over 600. We didn't have a counseling program, so the counseling program's new, the education is new. So we've grown significantly since I started, or since we started there. So yeah, lots of big changes, lots of exciting things happening, and we continue to grow and continue to look forward to the exciting things that are coming our way.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that's incredible. Do people have to pay for any of the classes that Parkinson's Wellness Project provides?
Yeah, so we don't charge for any of our classes or any of our services. It's all by donation. So we certainly rely on donations to pay our bills at the end of the month. But there are no fees. Donation and community grants help us run. We're also not funded by Island Health or by the government, so we really rely on those donations to keep our doors open.
Okay, so if somebody watching or listening would like to help you out, what's the best way for them to do that?
So you can check out our website. It's parkinsonwellness.ca. We have lots of information, resources, our class schedule, how you can get an assessment, how you can get involved. And obviously there's a big donate page there. So you can click on the page or click on the button and donate, or you can call our office 250-360-6800, and somebody will be happy to chat with you and take your credit card information.
Which is very nice. We had Andy Robinson, who was a board member of Parkinson's Wellness Projects, on I think episode 2. And he said you were operating at about 80% capacity of what you could be doing. Are you still at 80? Have you moved up a little bit, or is it still you need more funding?
Oh, we need more funding for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think with any nonprofit organization, you're always going to need more funding to be sustainable and meet the growing demands. Like, we know Parkinson's is now the fastest growing neurological disease in the world. So we're not going to be slowing down anytime soon. And the more, we do things like this, and the more awareness we create around Parkinson wellness projects, hopefully the more people will be calling us and emailing us and booking assessments. And I mean, that's what we want to do. My goal is that everybody on Vancouver Island who is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease not only is aware of us, but has reached out and are connected with our services and our programs. And we're therefore helping improve their lives, or helping with education around Parkinson's disease, and getting them connected with the Parkinson's community. Because as you know, that connection with other people with Parkinson's disease is so, so important. So it's a big part of what we do, and what I hope we continue to do.
It's one of the reasons why I'm so glad you're here, is because, I think more people need to know about the Parkinson's Wellness Projects, not just on Vancouver Island, but if you're on Vancouver Island, you need to send Bailey an email or get a phone call, and just figure out if it's for you. And I hope that it is. Have you ever gotten into a position where you're looking out at either an exercise class or a fundraiser, and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening?
I think that happens almost every single day when I walk into the gym, just to see the amount of energy and dedication and effort that our participants are putting into every single exercise class that they do, and every single event that we have. I mean, our community always shows up for us, whether that is through, a fundraising event. We had a big match campaign in the fall and the winter, and we exceeded our goals, or whether that's looking out for themselves and working on their health and maintaining their quality of life and improving their fitness. Like, we've had people come in that, used walkers 100% of the time, couldn't dress themselves, couldn't, get out of a chair, and now they're walking independently, can dress themselves, like no problem, sit to stands, up and down all the time. So, it's not only just maintaining what you have and helping to slow the progression of the disease, it's improving your overall health. And it's so wonderful to see.
Parkinson's is not going anywhere. In fact, it's the opposite. It's really going to come on now, and I think we need more places like Parkinson's Wellness Projects. So, Bailey, I remember first meeting you.
And here's the ever popular segment, Jim's Spinning Wheels Tour Flashback.
Day 1 of the Spinning Wheels Tour, and a whole bunch of people from Parkinson's Wellness Projects came down to see us off, and we literally had no idea what we were doing. And you and your group were very patient with us. I mean, I think we were an hour and a half later than what it was that we were supposed to take off. But if you don't mind, like, what were your thoughts about seeing a bunch of people with Parkinson's about to cycle across the country?
What were my thoughts? Well, I thought you were crazy for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Guys are what? So, but it's just so inspiring. I was so pleased to be a part of it, and I'm so glad that you found our organization, and so glad that we could be there to support you, because I think a big message, or a big part of Parkinson's disease, or living with Parkinson's disease, is still doing all the things that are important to you and that you're passionate about. So if cycling is one of those things, I might not recommend cycling across Canada, but certainly, keep up with the things that you're passionate about and that you enjoy, or learn something new. Like, just because you have Parkinson's disease, it doesn't mean that your life ends. It might look a little bit different, and these passions and hobbies and interests might need to change a little bit, but you can still do these things that you love to do. So I was just, I was just really pleased to be a part of it, and managed to join the cycling group for a few kilometers, and called it quits before we even made it to the ferry. So I was just, and it's just very inspiring for people that think that, who are newly diagnosed, or they're worried about what they can or can't do, or how is it going to look. They can look to you and the rest of your team and be like, well, if these guys can do it, like, maybe I can, and maybe I can at least try. So yeah, I think it's great what you did, and it's great what you continue to do, and doing things like this, trying to connect other people with other organizations who try to help people with Parkinson's disease. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, I do think that people could often look at me honestly and go, "Wow, if those guys can do it, I mean, like, just look at them. They are not special." You know what? You know what? The only the only thing they're special at is not getting off the bike. But no, and that's true. Like, you came out with it for a few kilometers, and I think there were a dozen of people who were out there, right? And it was so inspiring, and so you were one of the first people we contacted for the Spinning Wheels tour, saying, "Hey, as Parkinson's Wellness Projects, do you want to come in again and try to recreate the magic?" And of course, you said yes. So thank you very much. We're really looking forward to partnering with Parkinson's Wellness Projects, and you know what? This is actually where the podcast started. Was in British Columbia. That was the first time we were stalling for time. I pulled out my phone and did some interviews, and you were one of the people who were there. And I asked you then, like, are you the one who's coming to Alberta with us? And so I'm going to ask again, like, are you going to come to Alberta with the relay?
I don't think that was me. I think that was Andy you asked. I was like hiding from you, so you wouldn't ask me.
Now, I hear you're coming with us all the way to Alberta. Is that right?
I didn't hear that yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, Bailey said something about that. I'm sure Andy's coming to Alberta. That'll be fine. Andy, thanks very much for coming out today. I appreciate that.
That's great, and I hope I'm really looking forward to following you guys on your trip.
Well, thank you very much. Bailey, do you mind? Okay. Hold on, everyone. I'm going to switch over here. This is Bailey.
Hello.
Bailey's from the Parkinson's Wellness Projects here in Victoria. What does the Parkinson's Wellness Projects do?
We're a nonprofit organization who just serves people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
Well, I mean, so you missed out on the first time, but we're going to Alberta. We're hitting Calgary. We're hitting Edmonton. Both places that have an airport you can get back to Victoria with if you want to. It's an open invitation.
Oh, I really appreciate the invitation. You'll have to ask the board if I can have all that time off, though. So I don't know if they'll let me go.
We'll do it in about 3 days. It'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay, great. My legs are gonna feel good after that.
Exactly. I'm hoping to get Andy in too. So and Andy in as well. So he's on the board, right? Of course he's going to be able to say for sure.
Okay, perfect. Obviously, I didn't think this plan through. So I think one thing that's just happening right now is table tennis. So we're trying to raise money to buy some folding table tennis tables and some equipment and start a table tennis program. Really good with, or really helpful for coordination, dual tasking, balance, agility, all those things that can be challenging for people with Parkinson's disease. So we're working on that. We're also doing a cognition and dexterity class. So one of our former board members is putting that on. We've done it once before, but we're doing it again at the end of March. So it's just more about, we know the high intense forced exercise is really good for Parkinson's disease, but there's so many other things that can be worked on in addition to those high intense exercise. So this class is more about fine motor control, like maybe building things, stacking things, using nuts and bolts and little tools, and work on motor control that way. And then also cognition. So doing, some of the dual tasking that I just talked about. Our counselor, Dr. Frankie, and we do a 4-week newly diagnosed series, which we found is really helpful for people that are newly diagnosed. So we offer it about 2 or 3 times a year, depending on how many new assessments we're getting. And we cover everything from, briefly, what is Parkinson's disease? We touch on medication, we touch on the importance of exercise and the types of exercise and the intensity. And then Dr. Frankie covers sort of the more emotional challenges and coming to terms with a Parkinson's diagnosis and most importantly, how to live a full, meaningful life with a Parkinson's diagnosis. So we usually try to get people signed up for that right away. And then we also have other resources, like do they want to talk to one of our ambassadors who is part of our community who has maybe had Parkinson's for a few years, and they can kind of talk one-on-one about what they like about the programs and what classes are like they find most beneficial. We have a speech language pathology monthly education, so maybe they're dealing with swallowing or speech issues, so we should sign them up for that. Maybe they need a counseling appointment right away, so we'll get them signed up for that. So we like to leave people with probably a bit of overwhelming too much information, which is understandable, but really like, here are some tools for you. This is what we think will be helpful. What classes can we sign you up for? And we also follow up with them in it for hopefully a couple weeks. So we'll call them up and be like, hey, well, this is Bailey from PWP. You had an assessment a couple weeks ago. How are you doing? Have you signed up for classes? How was the SLP webinar? Is there anything else we can do for you? So we really hope that once people come through the door and get that assessment, that they're feeling supported and that they have the tools and resources that they need.
Wow, that's so impressive. I need to move to Victoria.
At the end of the day, I mean, I'm not trying to take away from how hard a Parkinson's diagnosis is or the devastating effect it can have on you and your family and everybody involved. And the caregiver burden is a real thing. And we address that as well. So we're not just helping people with Parkinson's, like their care partners are a big part of the community as well. And we have support groups for them and counseling for them. A big part of what we do is just making people feel that they're not alone, and that community aspect that we already talked about, and letting them know that there's hundreds of other people just in our facility that are going through similar things that you're going through, and we're all here to help one another and support one another. So I know there are people that are hesitant to call or stop by, because there's also that fear of coming into the gym and seeing somebody that's had Parkinson's for 10 years and being afraid of, like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to be involved. I'm going to keep my blinders on, and that's okay. And if you're involved in fitness and you go to a gym and you have a schedule and you're staying active and you're staying involved in your community, whatever that looks like, that's great. But I think it's also important to know that we're here for you when you're ready, because not everybody's ready to take that step. But when you are, we're there and we're waiting, and we're going to welcome you to our community through the doors.
Okay, so where do you see Parkinson's wellness projects going in the next few years?
Oh, that's a great question that I think about all the time. So I think right now we're just about making sure that our foundation is solid. So making sure that all of our classes are run by experts in their field. So making sure that they're all trained in Parkinson's, they all are experienced in, working with Parkinson's or older adults, or whatever their niche is, that they're the ones that are going to help our participants the most. So making sure that our instructors that we have and the program that we have is really as great as it can be. Right now, we already have a couple of satellite locations. So we offer classes, the Sydney Saanich area, so a little bit north of Victoria, and a gym that's a little bit west of Victoria. So for folks that have transportation issues, there are classes that can meet their needs outside of downtown Victoria. And then just raising awareness. So making sure that all of the neurologists on Vancouver Island know about PWP, so that everybody that's getting a Parkinson's diagnosis is getting referred to us. That's my goal for the next couple of years, is to make sure everybody on Vancouver Island has heard of us and is involved in our community if they want to be involved.
How did you get involved in Parkinson's?
I went to the World Parkinson Congress in Portland, Oregon in 2016, I think it was. I'm not sure of the exact year, but
No, I think that's about right. Yeah.
yeah. And I just was like, this is amazing. So it really kind of inspired me to follow that Parkinson's path a little bit closer, I guess, and learn more. And then I became a PWR therapist. And I think the fact that, because my background is in athletic and exercise therapy, the fact that exercise was a form of treatment I could really get behind, and I understood exercise, and it was, I could prescribe exercise, like I got it. So I think it was just a natural fit for me. And actually, I'm going down to the PWR retreat in Tucson, Arizona this year to volunteer for the week with Becky Farley and her team down there. So I'm very excited about that, to learn even more and be involved with the retreat. So I'm looking forward to that.
Bailey, you've been talking about so many things that your organization is doing. What, like, for somebody who's interested, is there something coming up that we need to be aware of?
Yeah, so we're doing our biggest fundraising event of the year in May. So it's actually Monday, May 20th. It's Victoria Day. In Victoria, there's the Victoria Day Parade. It goes all the way down Douglas Street. And so we lead off the parade in a race called the Douglas Mile. So it's 1 mile long. It starts, just kind of downtown Victoria, ends right in front of City Hall. And we're just encouraging the Parkinson's community to join us on this walk. You're welcome to race it if you want to. There are actually people running, like racing the mile and trying to win it. But most of our PWP community, we just walk together. We have signs and banners and T-shirts. We just walk the mile, and it's to raise money for our organization, but it's also to raise awareness. So just putting our name out there and helping people become more aware of Parkinson's disease and Parkinson wellness projects, bring more awareness to the community and to the city of Victoria.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, I hope a lot of people show up, and also maybe the second biggest day of the PWB calendar is July 27th, which is actually the first day of the Spinning Wheels Relay to End Parkinson's Disease. We'll be swinging by Parkinson's Wellness Projects for a day, if you have Parkinson's disease or if you don't, to come down to PWP on July 27th. And I will be there. Bailey will be there. It's very exciting. Day one of the Spinning Wheels Relay, and we're looking forward to that. Bailey, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I knew a little bit about PWP, but what you're doing, it really is amazing. And I think more people need to know about that. So thank you very much for everything that you're doing.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to chat with you and catch up. So always happy to talk about what we're doing.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you very much.
I want to draw this.
Hey, everybody. Wow. I'd really like to thank Bailey Martin from Parkinson's Wellness Projects in Victoria for coming on the program. I knew a little bit before about Parkinson's Wellness Projects, but what they're doing blew me away, and I'd like to congratulate them and thank them for doing so much for people with Parkinson's and their care partners in Victoria and on Vancouver Island. So thanks again, Bailey. Really appreciate that.
His first comments was, "It tastes awful." And, that maybe that works for cough syrup, but it shouldn't be the case for tea. So PDT tastes nice.